Hello everyone, back again with Blockbuster Recaps. In this video, I'm going to tell you a story from a 2014 war film titled Fury. Before we get to the storyline, please remember to like and subscribe to our channel. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the movie. The narrative of the Nazi soldiers' conflict with the Allies opens the film when Sergeant Don Collier, also known in code as War Daddy, jumps the Nazi soldier riding a white horse and kills him. The Nazi soldier was surveying the battlefield's casualties. War Daddy then frees the horse and returns to the Fury Insider tank. Boyd, Bible Swan, Trini Gordo Garcia, and Grey Deaconish Travis Kunis are among his soldiers who are repairing the situation as he holds War Daddy accountable for what transpired to them. When they are attacked, it is the perfect moment for Kunis to finish pacifying rage since everyone is distraught over the loss of a fellow soldier. Sergeant Binkowski welcomes War Daddy back to the Allied camp. After some time of conversation, a soldier approaches War Daddy and inquires as to the whereabouts of the remaining members of the platoon. Nevertheless, War Daddy and his guys are the only ones left. Bible, Gordo, and Kunis converse about Red, their slain buddy. In the meantime, when War Daddy finally shows there, he issues a command to them alone. War Daddy is also seen inconsolable about Red's passing. Private Norman Ellison approaches him after a while. In Bow Gunner, Norman introduces himself as the new assistant driver for War Daddy. War Daddy looks at Norman in disbelief at what he is hearing. He is instructed to report to the remainder of the troop, according to War Daddy, and not get too close to anyone. Norman finds the others fixing Fury. Gordo takes his bag and looks for a cigarette, but only finds a book. The three ask him about his job in the army and intimidate him. Then Kunis orders him to clean the insides of Fury. Norman for the first time sees the inside of a tank. He starts cleaning the blood off when he spots a torn-off face. He immediately gets out of the tank and puke. Meanwhile, War Daddy is talking to other soldiers about their situation when an SS soldier prisoner is brought into the camp. War Daddy and the others attack the prisoner, but he has stopped by his comrades. He then tells Norman that he should kill every German soldier he sees. It turns out that Norman hasn't killed anyone yet. War Daddy gives him a gun and Kunis teaches him about it. War Daddy proceeds to talk to other soldiers about their next move. War Daddy will be the platoon sergeant for their mission. After the discussion of the plan, they mount up and head out. On their way, they drive past people evacuating. Ward 80 warns them to stay alert for hidden enemies among the people. Then Norman notices someone from the tree line, but hesitates to shoot it. Unfortunately, this causes a successful ambush by the enemy. A tank explodes and Norman sees a soldier burning and shooting himself to death. Ward. He immediately chases the enemy and kills them. The enemies who ambush them are just kids. War Daddy gets back to Norman and scolds him for hesitating to kill the enemy. Now Norman carries the burden of someone dying because of his negligence. War Daddy takes the lead of the whole platoon and proceeds with the mission. They reach their destination and a soldier greets them. The soldier takes War Daddy to Captain Wagoner. He's frustrated to know that they didn't send the sufficient number of backup he asked, but he trusts War Daddy, so he's still somehow confident with him. They discuss the mission to rescue the captains, pin down soldiers in the enemy's territory. Then they gear up and proceed with the mission. The platoon reaches the pinned down soldiers and starts rescuing them. Tanks in front, soldiers at the back, then the enemies start firing at them and a shootout broke out. The enemies have strong machine guns and anti-tank weapons. Meanwhile, Norman is still not used in fighting. A soldier was about to shoot them and he cannot shoot back because he's panicking while reloading the gun. Fortunately, Bible saves him. Court of Schools. Norman then orders him to shoot the enemy lying on the ground. Norman doesn't want to, thinking they are already dead, but Gordo insists on double tapping them. Norman breaks down and doesn't want to fight anymore. War Daddy scolds him and Gordo consoles him, saying it's all part of the war. After a while, they successfully defeated the Nazi soldiers. A soldier approaches a dying man and prays for him. Ward. He talks to Norman about his mistakes. It turns out that Norman is not trained for combat, he's just been pulled out. Then other soldiers cart a Nazi soldier wearing an American jacket and toys with him. War Daddy stops them and orders Norman to kill the Nazis. When he refuses, War Daddy wrestles the revolver into Norman's hand, forcing him to pull the trigger. The Nazi dies with the revolver in his hand, traumatizing. Norman Bible picks him up and they go back to the group. The three tell Norman that even though War Daddy is often hard, he's the main reason why their group is solid. On their way to the nearby town, they see dead bodies hanging. It's the Germans, who refuses to fight in the war. They arrive at the town and search it for hiding German soldiers. They spot an old man and ask him where the soldiers are, but he was shot as soon as he pointed where they are. Then a shootout breaks out. In the end, War Daddy and his platoon successfully captured the town when the Burgermeister surrenders a bunch of kids and women whose force to fight the war was rescued, and they killed their leader. Afterward, the soldiers celebrate their victory. Gordo and Kunis is flirting with a German woman, taking her inside Fury and consecutively having meat injection game with her. Meanwhile, War Daddy approaches Norman and commends him for killing the enemies. Norman, on the other hand, responds with sarcasm. War Daddy then takes him to an office full of dead people talking about war ideals. War Daddy wants to make Norman realize something. When they step outside, War Daddy spots a woman peeking from the window. He and Norman immediately check the woman's apart, and there they find Irma and her younger cousin Emma hiding Ward. Eddie decides to settle there for a while, paying Irma 2 packs of cigarettes for a meal and hot water so he can shave, while the women are preparing the food. They are all surprised, including War Daddy, to hear Norman plays the piano. Emma walks to him and sings while he's playing. Then War Daddy urges Norman to make his way to Emma, and the two go into the bedroom. Irma was about to stop them, but War Daddy calmly stops her, saying that she should let them enjoy it while they're young. Inside, Emma and Norman share an intimate time. After a while, they are about to eat when Bible, Bordeaux, and Kunis bargain. They say that a woman is waiting for Norman in the tank, but as soon as they see Emma, they realize what just happened. Then they, especially Kunis, start bullying Norman and harassing, but War Daddy stops them. All of them share a meal together. When Gordo shares a story, something is up and tension is building up among the soldiers. War Daddy warns them not to spoil his meal time, but Gordo continues the story about how to kill a horse. To kill a horse, you need to befriend it and gain its trust, and then you kill it. War Daddy warns him to shut up, but Bible and Kunis back him up afterward. War Daddy sarcastically thanks them for the talk and slams the table and spits on Kunis. Porto apologizes when a soldier arrives and calls for them. They're ordered to capture and hold on to a crossroad, but this mission is dangerous because they don't know what will they be facing. While preparing to leave, a German shell hits the town, exactly the house of Irma and Emma. Norman rushes to her and Kunis followed him. He finds him dead, further traumatizing him, but this fuels his anger for the Nazis. Pudask pushes him back to the tank, but he refuses. Then Kunis lets him hit him to let out his frustrations and pushes him back to the tank afterward. The platoon heads out. Norman is still devastated because of Emma's death ward that he talks to him saying that death is all part of being in the war. On their way to the crossroad, they are ambushed. Enemy soldiers riding a Tiger tank attack them. The platoon is having a hard time finishing the enemy. Unfortunately, the enemy is able to take out Sergeant Davis, Sergeant Binkowski, and their men. Sergeant Davis was directly shot by the tank's cannon in the head, and Sergeant Binkowski burned to death. Fury, commanded by War Daddy, is now having a standoff with the Tiger tank. With War Daddy strategizing their attacks, they're able to destroy the Tiger tank and kill the enemy soldier. Just like at the beginning of the movie War, Daddy and his troop are the only ones left. War Daddy tries to notify his superiors of what happened, but is unable to do so because the radio was damaged, stressed, and devastated. War Daddy, Bible, Gordo, Kunis, and Norman just laugh off their situation and proceed to carry on the mission. Fury reaches the crossroad, but it got immobilized. After stepping on a landmine, the tank tread gets cut off and it will take a while to get fixed. War Daddy orders Kunis and Norman to check the nearby building. Inside the building, Kunis apologizes to Norman. After finding nothing but a dead German soldier, they immediately head back to the troop. Then War Daddy orders Norman to guard them from the high ground. While eating, Norman hears something. Looking back, he's terrified to see a battalion of German soldiers marching their way. He rushes off to notify War Daddy and the others about the battalion coming. When War Daddy hears the chanting of the marching enemies, he recognizes them as the SS battalion. Bible wants to leave, but War Daddy wants to stay. He insists that they must carry out their mission, but Kunis points out that the 5 of them don't stand a chance against a battalion of enemies. In the end, War Daddy permits them to leave if they want to, but he will stay and hold the crossroad because it is their mission, and as the platoon leader, he can't just abandon it. Norman decides to stay, and one by one the others stay as well. They ask War Daddy about his plan, then he orders them to get the dead German soldier and burn it. They also disguise Fury as a destroyed tank and hide inside. Taking into consideration the limited amount of ammo they have, they wait for the right timing to attack. Inside, while preparing their weapons, War Daddy finds alcohol and they share their last drink. Knowing that this could be their last moment as a true Bible preach is about the verse he always thinks about. He is surprised when War Daddy recited the book and chapter where his favorite verse came from. They also give Norman the war name Machine because his kunas says he's a fighting, killing, and a sex machine. Afterward, Machine sees the enemy approaching their tank. He notifies the others, and they all gear up. The enemy surround Fury, and when one soldier opens a hatch, Machine shoots him, and the fighting starts. In the battle of a battalion against 5, this is the longest night they ever had. They throw grenades at the enemies and blow up their tracks. They also blow up the nearby building where numbers of enemy soldiers hide. When the shooting breaks out, the German soldiers start shooting back, but with War Daddy's command, the 5 are looking to be at advantage, killing many enemy soldiers. Unfortunately, they start running out of ammo. War Date. He plans to get out to get some ammo and orders Gordo and Machine to cover him. They throw smoke grenades and the two pop out their hatch and cover War Daddy as he gets the ammo. As soon as he finishes collecting ammo, he orders them to get back inside. He is about to get back inside as well, but enemies manage to climb up the tank. He fights them off but gets shot in the process. Luckily, it's not a fatal wound. Bible patches up his wound and they share another Bible verse together. On the other hand, the German soldiers bring out their Panzerfaust. They plan to swarm the group with continuous attacks. There is a brief silence echoing around. Both troops are being careful with each other, especially the troop of War Daddy, because they have a limited amount of ammo left. Then the enemies start shooting them with Panzerfaust, and the 5 counterattacks. Unfortunately, one enemy manages to blow a hole in the side of Fury, and it goes through Kunas, killing him. Bible cries in agony, but War Daddy orders him to straighten up because they are still in the middle of the war. The 4 of them continue fighting, but there are too many German soldiers. They shoot and throw grenades at them at the same time. After a while, they finally ran out of ammo. All that's left to them are their hand weapons and Furious .50 machine gun. On the other hand, the Nazi soldiers know they are running out of bullets and plan to finish them off. Back to Fury, the 4 prepares to get out, and a shootout breaks out again. War Daddy positions himself in the machine gun while the others are with their weapons. Later on, Bible runs out of bullets and gets out to get one from a dead enemy. Meanwhile, Birdo is about to throw a grenade, but he's been shot. The grenade falls off inside the tank and he uses his own body to contain the explosion, protecting War Daddy and Machine. Now there are only 3 of them against the German soldiers outside the Nazi, whose Bible tries to steal his weapon from his still alive and holds him down. He is about to get attacked by another enemy when Machine shows up and saves him. The 2 get back inside the tank when the enemies throw smoke grenades. Then we see an enemy carrying a sniper in camouflage slowly crawling and approaching near Fury. Back to War Daddy. He's fighting off the enemies when he calls for Bible to give him a grenade, but as soon as Bible pops out of the hatch, he is shot in the head by the sniper. The sniper fires again and successfully hit War Daddy, this time trying to secure the kill. He shoots him again, but War Daddy manages to get into the tank. Inside, War Daddy and Machine talk sincerely. Machine admits that he's scared, but so is War Daddy. Machine wants to surrender, but War Daddy tells him that they will torture him to death. Outside, the enemy soldiers swarm the tank and drop steel hand grenade with one last glance. With War Daddy, Machine escapes through the bottom hatch of the tank. He tries to cover himself with mud to hide, but a young German soldier spots him, silently begging. The German soldier spares his life. You guys are fantastic if you have seen this far in the video. Thanks for watching. If our Blockbuster recaps amuse you, please remember to ring the notification bell and the subscribe button. Thank you.